time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. Like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my groove, but you can't get in my groove. Me, XL, and Huber, way too fireball. When this joint drop, better come true. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah, I got the juice. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing.
What's going on, everyone? What is going on? Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, episode 253 of the pod. Appreciate you guys who are tuning in and rocking with us on this Saturday. It's actually the first ever Saturday stream of the pod, so excited for that. But I just want to welcome in returning guest Nate Evans to the podcast. Nate, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come on here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate your patience and, having me back, man. It's always a pleasure. And don't take these opportunities for granted to, pour into your audience.
Absolutely, man. You always have a lot of stuff to offer, great insight. And that's what it's all about. Like, the mission here is always to be able to add value, not only to, the audience, obviously, with guests that can come on here and kind of share their stories and then add insight, but also for the guests too, a platform, which I love to be able to grant that platform for people to be able to come on here and, talk more about themselves and just have that platform. Ultimately, that's what this was founded on. So appreciate you, bro. That's been a long time coming. I know, like I said, first Saturday episode, but I'm cool with it. It's a little bit different change of pace. But guys, what we're talking about tonight is the ultimate topic that was put out in the promo was the roadmap, the blueprint that you plan for in your 20s didn't take into account the lessons you had to learn along the way, and kind of how God is not just shaping your success, but he is also shaping your character. So the trials and tribulations, everything that we face, all the setbacks, we plan something in our life, right? We have a vision of, whatever it is, how much, we want to be successful in terms of our career, how much money we want to make, want to be married with kids, in terms of where our health is, all those types of things. It doesn't account all the time for, and there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be setbacks, but you can't predict them. So there's a reason behind everything, and essentially God is at the helm, and he's trusting in him sometimes is really, really tough. I know, it's easy to say I trust in God, but to fully trust him, in the times when you're really in those dark times and when you're really down with the trials that you're going through, um, if you don't have like a sound relationship with him, it's tough to do that. But I really do believe that everything happens. There's a purpose behind it, and it shapes up where you're at. So we're both in our 30s, and I know the plans that I had for my 20s. Some things I accomplished, some things not, and God's kind of at the center there.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Same for me. I was like looking over the topic, and it's interesting how I don't want to say unrealistic our expectations were growing up, but I think I overestimated what I could do in that time frame, and like really underestimated how difficult it would be in those like formative years of my 20s and stuff like that. Like in my head, it was like, oh, you'll be married by 26, have a house, you'll at least have your first million. You'll have so many different things going, and then you realize like how young you really are, how unexperienced you are, how immature, how much more there is to learn. And even now at 30, 36, it's like, oh, I'm still really super young. Like that's the reality. And some of the things I thought that I would have had done 10 years ago, 12 years ago, it's like, oh, I'm just kind of reaching these places. And for me personally, I had to let go of the shame of that. Because initially I'm like, man, I'm behind. But it's like, whose race are you trying to run? Is this your personal race, or are you trying to do what you see everybody else doing? And you're trying to speed up because you feel like there's this clock that you have to meet a certain standard by. And once I was able to let that go, it allowed me to just be present. And now I can do what I do and not feel like I'm behind anybody. Because that's all it was. I was kind of comparing my life to everybody else, where it's like, man, by this age, you should have this. By this age, you should do this. By this age, you should. And it's like, man, where did all of this come from?
Yeah.
So it can definitely bring a lot of shame and just doubt. And like, you can start to beat yourself up about where you are in life and your relationships and your finances. And it's like, man, none of that stuff is beneficial. The
Mm-mm.
people who are truly thriving, they got it later on in life. There are some anomalies, you know, but
Yep.
that's not the reality for most people.
Yeah, there's so much truth behind that, and I can resonate with that too. Yeah, comparison truly is the thief of joy. And I think that's like that's when you are able to truly release the comparison and understand that you're running that own race of you're running the race that you're running is your own. It's not anybody else's, and you never understand too like what each person had to go through to get those things. I think social media really ramps up. I think social media, I always say this, it's an amazing tool. It allows us to reach many people, which is it's a blessing, right? We can connect with others across the world and people we would have never met. But there's also a detriment to it too, is that it really does allow us to really analyze our own life and compare ourselves to other people, what different people have. You might see a kid that says like in tech he's a multimillionaire at 20 years old, like, and you're like,
Yeah.
people making all this money, and it's like, but you got to understand is like the average person, like isn't really like what we see on social media. It's not always what it seems. There's always something behind it. And everybody's race is different, like what they had to go through to get that. Like you said, there are anomalies, but it does take quite a bit of work in life to really educate yourself, become more mature, and to be able to acquire certain things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done the same thing, compared a lot of times, and it's like you said, there's nothing beneficial for it. Like if you get into that shame barrier, that's all it is a barrier. It's going to keep you in a negative mindset. It's going to keep you feeling down about yourself, feeling sorry for yourself, and ultimately like there's nothing positive that comes from that. Like you're not building yourself up, you're more so tearing yourself down. So
Fact.
there's nothing that comes from that that's positive.
Yeah, nah, it's not positive, and like I said, it can be very unrealistic because you're measuring by a societal standard, and it's like, man, now you're pursuing things you don't even desire. You know what I mean? You're chasing success for all of the wrong reasons, and you feel like if you don't have what the next man has, then you're, especially for our men, you feel like you're less than a man, or you're just lacking and behind. It can be really tough, man. You can lose your peace of mind, all of those different things, and really get off the path that God has for you. Or if you buy into all of that. Because the reality is, like, say if I had what I have now 10, 12, 14 years ago, I would crash and burn under the responsibility of it all.
Yeah.
I wasn't built for it. So it's like you chase a thing so much, but then your character won't be able to keep you there. So
Exactly.
for me, it's like, yo, it's actually way better that you take your time and you learn and you grow and you mature, as opposed to I got to hit these certain levels by 21, 22. And again, we didn't know. We were just kind of like putting it out there. You know, you're a teenager, you're by this age, I'm gonna do this by this. And then you get there and you're like, yo, it's no way. It's no way.
Exactly. You start to be realistic. Exactly. It's unrealistic sometimes, like what we set out for us. So I know for me, like, I similarly, I have like all these goals that I want to reach, but then like realistically, like you don't like the time that it takes behind each one. It's like sometimes you just got to be more realistic with yourself. But like, yeah, it is true. Like, and God, and like you said, I think that there's a plan behind everything. Like, exactly.
Hmm.
God isn't just shaping your success, He's also shaping your character. So the character that you build along the way to achieving what you want, that's really important. Because, like you said, if you acquire it, like all of that too early, you can absolutely crash and burn because you weren't mentally mature enough to handle that level of responsibility at a younger age. There's a process to everything.
Yeah, it's one thing to get it, man. It's another thing to keep it and grow it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that takes a certain level of maturity for sure. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so it's like that's and I think there's things that I wanted at certain ages, and like I can look back and like God, I almost look at it as like divine protection. Like there were certain reasons why I didn't accomplish certain things in certain seasons of my life, or whether it was a business venture, whether it was wanting my finances to be at a certain level, whether it was a relationship that like I saw forever and didn't work out. There's reasons behind like everything, and like God really is trying to protect you, or He has a different path for you. And I think a lot of it is it's building the relationship with God, like and that takes daily work, like every single day, spending time in the Word, spending time with God, and just getting to know Him, and building that relationship. When you have Him, any time in my life where I've had Him at the center of my life, where I'm focused on God, like, and honoring Him, I know that my life has gotten better, like in certain areas, like of like what like in terms of my mental peace, just on. But anytime I've ever wavered from Him, my mental peace, like I feel like I have succumbed to like more temptation, more lack of self control in my life with a lot of the worldly stuff. When I have Him at the center of my life, though, I feel like a lot more mental peace and able to kind of resist a lot of that temptation that's around us, because it's around us in full force today.
Oh yeah, yes, it's all around us. I mean, by the time you get up or get on your phone or check your email or walk out your door, the world is really looking to distract you, tempt you, get you to not see who you truly are. Like it's all coming. And to be oblivious to that is to set yourself up for failure. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I 1000% agree.
Absolutely. It's just temptation in so many aspects. And I think as men too, like we every time, I know in the past, like anytime I would succumb to like certain temptations, you feel like more shame about yourself, and then it kind of becomes a cycle. Like you're feeling shameful about yourself, and you learn not to trust yourself. Like I know there's been times where I've set goals to like, okay, I'm gonna give this up or give that up, like, and just understand that like every single time you fail, even though God gives you grace, throughout it, like He forgives you, it's like almost like you learn not to trust yourself. And that's a real big thing, is you have to be able to, it takes this daily steps, like to every time you do take a step towards something, it kind of builds that confidence that you can trust yourself. But I know personally a lot of people, I know when I was younger, I struggled too with trusting myself, because I'm like, okay, I set this goal, or like I have, this goal to, okay, I'm gonna stop doing this or falling into this temptation. And every time I would fall back into it, whether it's like I'm not looking at the progress, like, okay, you went this long without doing, like you're doing better, you're trying to grow. But at the center of it all, we are sinful by nature. We're gonna slip up. We're imperfect. Like there's no such thing as perfect. So we have to give ourselves grace, and how we talk to ourselves internally is very, very important, because I know there were periods of my life where I just did not trust myself. Like that internal self-talk was really negative. But once I got to a point to understand, like, we're completely imperfect. Like you might slip up at times, but as long as you're continuing to, give grace to yourself and continuing to have a plan of action and continuing to move forward, you got to keep that self-talk positive.
Yeah, yeah, you have to, and it's a muscle. It's a muscle. You got to train it. It's not a light switch. It's not something you could turn on and off. It's like, now you got to do it daily. Even for myself, it's like it's something I still repetitively do every day, whether that's my affirmations, whether that's through prayer, whatever it is. You have to build up a routine, because again, once you leave your door, your house, it's like that's not necessarily the energy you're going to be getting. So you got to give it to yourself.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the most important things, is doing it in the quiet time when you first wake up, when you have that time to yourself. Like you said, before you walk out the door, because the world, like you said, it's not always going to give you that energy back. This world is not always like that. So you have to be able to, you have to pour that into yourself. And I just find like the quiet hours when you first get up, sun's not even up, it's real quiet. You even look biblically. Jesus, a lot of times, like he got up to pray in the middle of the night. Like he got up before the dawn, like would go to a quiet spot and would go to pray like by himself. It literally is talked about in the Bible, but it's those quiet hours. I just know for me, when I start my day with God's word, the rest kind of just falls into place the way it needs to. It's one of the best ways to start your day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Some type of rhythm and routine, even if you're not perfect with it, I think intention is just really important to start the day. And however you are, you can be intentional. Like if you can just set an intention, it's really important, because it's so easy to get thrown off.
Yep. I always say, like, wake up, like you woke up on purpose each day.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up with intention, wake up on purpose. Like it's another day you have above ground, another day that God woke you up, with his, it's all through him. So there's a purpose, but a lot of times, been there too, a lot of times the first thing people do when they get up is they start scrolling on their phone. It's like, it's not intentional. You know what I mean? It's just, you get up and you're just going with the motions. So a lot of people, that's what it is. I feel like that's probably the standard, to be honest with you. It's probably the standard. It's what most people are doing, being honest. So it's kind of breaking that habit. And there's just so many ways you can, like, I feel like there's things where you can keep your phone locked for a certain amount of time. There's so many things, if you struggle with it, like barriers, I know, you can deny access to your phone to a certain time. There's like so many apps and things you can use now. But yeah, that was one of my biggest habits, is getting up and scrolling. Like, I know for me now, like personally, it's you want to get up, just get out of bed. I know once I make my bed, I'm not laying back in bed. So that's like something personally for me. It's like once I make my bed, like I'm not gonna lay back down. So that's what I do first thing.
That used to be my thing before the kids. It used to be once I make it, I'm not getting back in. But it's like, if it gets made, that's a win. So you know what I mean? It's like it's a different world that we in, but definitely that was my routine for a long time, for sure.
Yep, exactly. With kids though, I understand it's completely it's a different long game. Joy commented and she said, "Ooh, this whole convo is a word. Is definitely a muscle that needs to be developed, and it's a process. Small daily positive habits and changes do wonders." Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Yep. It's a lot of that's what it is. It's like Nate was saying here, it's a muscle. It takes time. It's steps. Like as you build that structure, as you build that structure with yourself and you take those steps daily, it becomes like commonplace for you. It becomes the norm. Like it's just, you build it into your brain. There's so many things. Like I used to set my alarm at 4 a.m. and used to get up every day. And now like my body, I don't know what it is. I could go to bed at midnight. And my body will still wake me up at 4, like whether it's to use the bathroom, whatever, like my body without an alarm. It's just something like, I don't know, like it's like you build that habit though. Like it's so many years of that going off. It's just your body adjusts.
Yeah, that's the same with me, especially the morning routine. It doesn't matter where we are. Sometimes I'll sleep a little bit later, but the reality is it's like my body, like it has an internal alarm clock that just goes off at a certain time. It's pretty annoying sometimes though, when you are trying to like, I'm gonna sleep in tomorrow. Like it's going down and it's like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. That was my sleep in. Like that sucked. Like I was trying to sleep to like 10 a.m. and it's like, nah, brother, get up. And that's the part where it's like, all right, cool, whatever. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because that's important too, is man, we got to prioritize rest too, because it's just such like a hustle culture. And it's great to grind and it's great to have goals, but and it's harder to rest. It's in different seasons for sure, depending on if you got young kids, if you took on a new business venture. It depends on how much things you have on your plate.
Yeah.
It can be harder. That book that by Jason Wilson that we had in our group last year, I've read that book and it resonates with me. He was talking about in that book how important as like a father, as a husband, it is important for you to take time to rest, and just as a man in general, to take time to rest, because we get so caught up in wanting to be successful, wanting to do this. We have so many goals we want to hit, but we can't be our best self if we don't take that time to rest.
For sure. For sure. And I think that happens for me, it happened with reevaluating my goals. And I started to ask myself, why was I setting certain goals? Were these goals that I felt like were aligned with the path that I was choosing? Is this something that God gave me, or was I setting goals based on what I seen other people doing? And that actually helped me because I was burnt out a couple years ago, like burnt out pretty bad, where I had to go to the hospital. And I had to just reevaluate. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I really chasing right now? What do I actually want? And that's the first time I sat with that and kind of wrote it out. And I was like, yo, I'm unaligned because I'm pursuing just some money. I'm pursuing a little more status. I'm pursuing more stages, but it's like, that's actually not the stuff that inspires me or lights me up.
Right.
So I'm pursuing something that's somebody else's, but it's not for me. And once I got focused on what was for me, it's like that focus is a game changer because you're
Right.
able to take so much other things off of your plate and just do that thing. And it helped me so much, especially with the rest piece, my mental health, my physical health, my joy, my peace of mind. It was like, oh, I don't have to do 20,000 things. So that helped
Absolutely.
drastically.
Absolutely. And I just think money, I appreciate you sharing that. It's I feel like chasing money in general will burn you out. If that's like the ultimate goal, is like it's how much money I can acquire. Because I feel like we're never going to be satisfied. Like say like we
Yeah,
say we
never
want,
enough.
it's never enough. That's what I'm saying. So like if your goal is to like hit $1 million, well now you're going to want to hit 5 million, 10 million. It's like, and it's great to acquire wealth to build like financial stability for your family and everything like that. It's a great thing. But I think that every thing that you do should have some purpose behind it. So like if you're just building a business just because you want to acquire a certain amount of wealth, I feel like you're never going to truly be happy. You're going to feel burnout. But if you have a mission and purpose behind what you're doing, you're going to feel more satisfied and you're not going to burn yourself out as much. Like you definitely have to have practical steps to, like I said, allocating that time for rest. But me and my one friend were just talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about real estate. He's an investor and has his real estate company, but he loves helping his clients. Like there's a genuine like love that even if there's deals where he doesn't make money, he'll sit down to consult or whatever. And it helps him still build his base, because people say, I had such a great conversation with that guy. Like, hey, even if I'm not buying a home right now, or jumping into an investment property, like I'll prefer somebody else to him. You know what I mean? Because the guy genuinely takes the time to understand me and listen to me. Having purpose behind what you do is going to make you feel more fulfilled. But if the ultimate goal is just chasing money, or as the Bible says, mammon, right? Like we can't worship God and mammon. If your ultimate goal is just to chase money and a certain amount of wealth, I feel like you're never going to be satisfied, and you truly are going to burn yourself out. So that's important. Like you said, 2 years ago when you were in that spot, to reevaluate, like what are the goals that we're trying to accomplish? Are they really our goals, or are we setting the standard by someone else?
Right. And that was me. I was setting an unrealistic standard based off what I thought would get me validation. So it's nothing inherently wrong with the $1 million and nothing like that stuff. Like
Right.
this is stuff we're pursuing actively.
Yeah.
But when it
Yeah.
becomes the pursuit, as opposed to, hey, who can I help? What gifts do I have that I can use to serve other people? How am I being impactful? How are people experiencing me? When it becomes this race to the money, it's like you say, you get it, and then you realize you got it, and it doesn't feel like what you thought it was going to feel like. Like you
Exactly.
still feel like anxious. You still feel stressed out. You just got more zeros in your account now. You're just like, man, I got it, and I feel like crap. Like
Right.
I'm still not happy. And then
Right.
you realize that it wasn't that. I think was it Jim Carrey? It was somebody. It was one of the actors was like, man, I wish everybody can be like successful, make millions of dollars and see that it's not what it's like cracked up to be.
Right. Yeah. No, it's true. And if you ask anybody on their deathbed, it's like the amount of money that they made in life, like it's not anything you could take with it. More so, people when they pass away, they're not going to be remembered for how much money they made. What you're going to be
Nah, we don't
remembered
want to talk
for,
about it.
yeah, you're going to be remembered for the lives that you touched and the impact that you made on people. So people are gonna show up and people are gonna remember you for the impact that you had on them. I had a friend, his dad passed away in 2022, and we went back to my old school to the church. My buddy was living in England and he had to fly home. His dad had a heart attack and had passed, unfortunately. But I
Wow.
remember going in. I remember going into this church. Guy was in great shape too. Like it just goes to show, like he's in amazing shape for his age. Like we work out. He still unfortunately passed away. But I remember going into this church and just like this is like my former grade school like church, and this church is huge. It's like a huge Catholic church, and this church was filled from like the front to the back. And it just what
Mhm.
I noticed in that moment was just the amount of lives that this man impacted. Like seeing a church filled like that, I'm just like, honestly, like it just goes to show that that man impacted so many people's lives. That's what you're remembered for, though. Like it's not going to be for all that. Like money is great. Like financial stability is great, right? Like we said, we're pursuing like goals because we can give it to like our family and generations and give back too, right, to the community. And like it's a great thing to have, and it opens a lot of doors and freedom for us. But we don't want to make that our center. Like it's like, yeah, of course we can set our family up for success for generations. If you make, a certain amount, it's like you can give back and give generously to the church, to the community, which is what you should do. That's what we're supposed to do.
Mhm.
But there's purpose behind it though. See, there's purpose. It's not if it's just acquiring money to like say like the only purpose behind it is to acquire like certain things, like some amount of houses or cars or clothes. Like I said, those things aren't inherently bad. They're not inherently bad if you enjoy those types of things. But there's like a famous saying that I always remember. It's like money is not a bad thing as long as it doesn't have you. You know what I mean? You can have nice things, just make sure nice things don't have you.
Mm.
And that's important because like if we're consumed by like all the materialism of this world, well, I feel like we're never going to be happy. We're never going to be satisfied.
Nah, never.
Never. So it's just about impacting people. And anyone I know that has their own successful business, they say the same thing. It's like money comes like when you are passionate about what you do. You actually pour your passion into it. You genuinely want to help your clients. It's like that's when the money comes. So in any way, you have the purpose and mission behind it. I know too. I don't know if you want to talk. I was going to allocate some time too. I know you had your summit last week. So Nate is a life coach and speaker. He had his Get to Worthy summit last week in Philadelphia. And not sure if you wanted to talk anything about it, but man, I heard great things. Like I told you before, like Josh was telling me, him and his wife were there. Sound like a great time.
Yeah, man, it was incredible. This was year 2 um of us doing it. We actually were going to do it last year, but we postponed it as we were navigating some family stuff, which worked out perfect because we were able to develop this new theme called Heal the Man, Heal the Family. And it was this inclusive event of both men and women, and some children were there, where we could come to the table and really empower men in their areas of mental and emotional wellness, spiritual wellness. And the women would be involved. They would be a part of the conversation. They would be able to understand. And it turned out to be, man, an incredible weekend. Josh would tell you, like a life-changing weekend for those who were in the room. It's one of those experiences where you got to be there because it's hard to explain once you leave. So it's like if you were in the room, it's like, oh, you get it. If you weren't there, it's like, it's a little tough, but I'm gonna try to explain it. But it was powerful, man. I flew in my mentors and just a few friends who really helped from behind the scenes. And man, it was speakers. My therapist spoke, Shane, and she was incredible. We had panels, had some of my guys on the panels. We had a men's panel, a women's panel. My wife spoke for the first time. We did a marriage panel together. So she joined us on the marriage panel. And she was incredible. She was incredible for her first time, like speaking professionally and publicly. She was phenomenal. So we did a marriage panel with me, her, and a mentor and coach of mine and his wife. And it was dope, man. And we even had a very impromptu moment of like an altar call and a prayer and like salvation, which was super random, or not super random, but it wasn't a part of our agenda. But God was moving in that place, man. We had performances, we had spoken word, we had an incredible artist, Amia, who was singing and brought her team with her. We had painters doing live painting. We had great vendors. Man, it was just a dope day. Like people left that place transformed and left better than when they came in, man. So it was exciting. We're looking forward to next year's summit. And we're gonna do stuff throughout the year this year, but the big capstone event, which is our summit, will be next April. But what we're gonna do this year, because there was a lot of people who flew in, but there was a lot of people who couldn't make it. And they were like, man, I really want to watch this. So I was talking with the team and we're gonna go ahead and bundle up the videos and like sell the recording so people can actually get all of the content because it was extremely valuable.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I know that it doesn't do it justice to like be there in person, but it sounds like that was a super dope and impactful event. Seems like it's like one of those events where you leave and your soul is like fed, you know?
Oh yeah, 1,000%, 1,000%, man. It was powerful. It's like the pictures and the videos don't do it justice, but it's like that's a glimpse of what you can see. And it was one of those rooms, man. Like I said, you just had to be in the room. The atmosphere just felt different. And we did it right in Philly. And we'll probably continue to do it in Philly for now because that's like our hub.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible time, man. But April 2027, we'll be back at the summit again. But
Okay.
throughout this year, we're going to be doing some smaller things, retreats, meetups, masterminds, all types of cool stuff.
That's dope, man. That's awesome. Yeah, Philly's a good central hub. You know, as being someone who's born and raised Philadelphia, like live in Philly now, like central hub. You know, a lot of people can kind of. It's easy to like fly out to too, right? Easy to fly
Yeah,
out
super
from
easy.
that. Simple. Compared to Jersey, it can be a little tougher, depending on where you're at in Jersey. Obviously, Jersey has like Newark, and I
Yeah,
know.
and you can walk around Philly too. So if you fly into Philly and you're in, like my guest stayed in the city, it's like
Yeah,
they were able to walk to brunch and grab
oh,
sushi and go hit the Rocky Steps and all of that stuff. So it was cool.
yeah. So much culture in Philly, man. So much, like
Hmm.
everywhere. Like so, I love that, man. That's incredible. That's awesome. It just and I love the top like the main overall like topic. Heal the men, heal the family. So important. So important. You know, I know with like I love that your therapist was able to speak too. You had your mentors, and that's incredible too that your wife did like a great job for like her first time speaking. You guys think you'll do like more content together, like going forward and things like that?
Hopefully,
Yeah.
because I wasn't even the one who convinced her to do it. It was, my
Okay.
coach and mentor. He convinced her to do it. I've been trying to get her to speak for the last few years, and she like
Yeah.
turns me down. So we'll see. I think we may, do something around Get to Worthy because it's not just my brand. It's like it's a family thing. To be
Right.
honest, I wouldn't even have the idea if it wasn't for her. So it's a family thing, and we may do some stuff. Like I said, when we do our next event, I may have her speak a little bit more.
That's incredible, man. That's incredible. Yeah, sounds like some great stuff. Yeah, it's important for us as men, like on the therapy side of it. Like I always advocate for therapy for men. I was someone when I was younger that you would have never been able to tell me to go to therapy. I would have been like, nah, like I'm not going to therapy. Like, oh, men don't go to therapy. Like, I don't think I had like any men in my family that were ever like going to therapy. I know my father wasn't, my dad, love my dad, but it's just that like a lot of times the generation like none of them ever like were going to therapy. I don't think any of my cousins, like a lot of my cousins are older, went to therapy or anything like that. But honestly, it's been one of the most transformative things. Just putting that pride and ego aside, going. It requires you to be very vulnerable. I will say it's not a magic pill. It's you get what you give in therapy. So like you could go into therapy and you could go in and just be completely like guarded. I was when I first went, like my first couple sessions. It took like a little bit, and it also took finding the right therapist. And I would also like encourage like any men, like if you don't jive with your first therapist, do not give up because it takes time to find the right one for you. Sometimes it's not always the first one you work with is going to be the right one for you. um, but you get what you give in it for sure, like as vulnerable as you're willing to be. But on the other side of it, man, it is so freeing. It's amazing. Like I always leave my therapy sessions feeling amazing. I will say I feel like I just feel lighter. But I will say I still to this day, even going into some of my therapy sessions, I have a great relationship with my therapist. Her name's Betsy. She's great. But I still go into some of those sessions a little nervous, because it requires a lot of vulnerability.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, it definitely does. It requires you to get to a place of comfort, where you're willing to just share, because they're not necessarily there to fix you, but they're going to help you put these pieces together and give you context for how you feel. But if you don't share anything, then you don't get anything out of it. So I agree.
yep, exactly. So it's a get what you give type of thing. But yeah, like biblically, when you heal the man, like the biblical hierarchy is like God, then it's the husband, the wife, the children, and it branches down. So like it starts with God, obviously, but then as the man, as the top of the hierarchy, right? Like we lead our families, we lead our wives, we lead our children. It's like if we're not healed and we're coming from a very unhealed state. I love that. I love that that was like the main topic because it's so important. But if we lead from an unhealed spot, um, that's how we're going to lead our family into the
Hmm.
same trauma or rocky waters. So important, man. Um, I think let me go through here. I've talked about a lot of the stuff. I was gonna put. So this is another part I wanted to talk about too. So in terms of this whole roadmap and everything of like how we, pivoting back like to our 20s and like where we're at now and our expectations. I think one of the most important things you need to do too, and you could speak on this too, is auditing your inner circle. This was something I absolutely had to do because there were people that really weren't pouring into my life, and there were some people that were like a lot of people that were pouring into my life that I kept that I still have around me to this day. They're great. I've known for a long time, and there's people I've met along the way too. That like at some point we had this like a standard connection, but then our connection got deeper. But there were people in my life that unfortunately, like I don't wish them any ill will. We were just at different stages of our lives, but they definitely weren't pouring into my life, and I had to kind of remove them from my life. But I think it's really important to audit your inner circle of who you're spending your time with, the conversations that you're having with people that are around you. There were certain people that like when I would have conversations with them, they would fizzle out real quick. They weren't deep conversations. They were just kind of like just on like I don't know immature type of energy where it's like I had grown out of that space where I wasn't like it was almost like we were still in our early 20s but we're in our 30s like and the conversations were just dull like I could feel them they would burn out quickly and I started to realize there were certain people not only were not pouring into me we just didn't have a lot in common anymore in like this season or like where I'm at now. So I think it's really important to audit your inner circle. And I have a few different mentors, but my one mentor always said that it's one of the most important things he learned along the way is you have to audit who is around you because your thoughts become like them. Like if those are the people you're hanging around with regularly and they're not going where you're trying to go, it's like you're going to kind of mimic their energy because you're around them so much. So you have to
Yeah.
audit it.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think you got to audit yourself and the circle. So you got to audit how you show up in the circle and then ask yourself, is this a circle that adds value to me? Not a perfect circle, but someone, are these people, are these friends, are these women, are these men who pour into me and vice versa? Is it mutual? Am I better because of this friend group or is this more of a hindrance? I think these are the questions you got to ask yourself.
Yeah.
And I did that a few years ago, actually, when I kind of started to switch up my friend circle. I did a really hard audit, and I was kind of like I was in this group chat with my college friends from college, and these are my guys too. Love these guys to life. But I realized the projection of where I was going, and I'm not even talking on some success business stuff. It was just like mindset and maturity. And I decided to jump out of the group chat. And they were like, "Man, you good? You okay?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Like y'all still my guys. I just mentally and emotionally where I'm at right now, I can't partake in these kind of conversations, especially consistently in the way that y'all are having them in." I stepped away for a while, and God literally, each one, He kind of replaced it with different men who now, these were my groomsmen at my wedding, and best friends, guys I can glean from. These are other married men. We mutually pour into each other, and it's been a huge shift in my life because of those relationships because they're very important. And you get to a point where you get to choose these relationships now. You don't have to just take whatever. You don't have to be that close in regards to an intimate friend relationship with somebody just because you've known them for 20 years. It's like, hey, you can still be cool with them. They can still be your homie, your homegirl, but you got to distance yourself at times to preserve the energy that you have to build the relationships that are moving you forward mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, all of those things, people who challenge you. So it's
Yep,
really, really important that you do, audit that circle, and you do it by really auditing your progression.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's that is so important. You said it too. Like you said, you could still be friends with people, but you to maintain your emotional, energy to protect to maintain your level, without getting too burnt out, without getting too fatigued. Absolutely, like you can still be friends with them, but you have to distance yourself at certain times because it's just I have those type of friendships too, where it's like I don't have any bad blood. We're still friends and we'll chop it up every once in a while. But it's like there's certain people that like I'm not communicating with like on a daily basis, and that's okay. Like I've known them for a long time, but just because you've known someone for 20, 30, 40 years, it's like you're not. It doesn't mean you're obligated to like have to give them more time than people you have met more recently. I feel like every season, of where you're at, you might align with other people, and like you said, that you want friends that challenge you to grow. You want friends that are going to hold you accountable too. That's important too. I know that I'm someone that won't like, and when I was younger, I wasn't this way, but people pleasing is a big thing. But I know now, like, I'm somebody who will hold my friends accountable, but I also expect them to do the same thing to me. Like, if
Right.
there's areas where I'm slipping up, I want to know. I don't want you to just like tell me what I want to hear or just people please like to not hurt my feelings. Like I'd rather you be direct with me. I'd rather you hold me accountable. And me and a couple of my homies were like that. We're accountable. Like when we slip up in certain areas, we set certain goals, right? And then say we slip up into some type of temptation, like we'll text each other or call each other and talk about like, yo man, just want to give you a heads up. Like I slipped up here. It's like I'm giving myself grace, but I'm getting back on track here. Like, and that's what it's about, like building that brotherhood, being accountable to one another. Like, and we do the same thing. Like, we're all accountable, like when we slip up. But, yeah, I want people around me that are going to tell me straight, people that are going to help me grow and help me become. But also, I want to be able to pour into them too, and be able to help them grow. And honestly, that's what happens. That's what you want to when you get married too. Like you want to marry a
Right.
partner that's going to help you grow. You guys are going to challenge each other. That's what you want, spiritually, mentally, physically. They're going to challenge you.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not being challenged, you're regressing. So that's why I said it's really important to know who's in that circle. And like you said, audit it.
absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing I would say is just like I said, I think one of the biggest things you can do is to like give yourself grace, but also one of the best things if you want to is just to not compare, but like have structure every single day. I think structure is always going to be important. Like I said, I personally want to start my most of my days. Not every day. I'm not perfect, but most of my days I start my day with God's word, and I like just having that structure helps. Like being able to like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start the day with the word. It's like it's different for everybody, depending on like where your life's at and what responsibilities you have. But having that structure, journaling too, having those mental check-ins with yourself,
Hmm.
um, so important
Yeah. Yeah. All of
along
it. Yep.
along the way. I guess as we kind of get towards the end here, and I was gonna set this for myself too, but I had there's a question I can kind of leave with here. If you had to ask like your 20 something, whatever age, like 20 something, let's say like your early 20s, you had to look your early, like I don't know, 21, 22-year old self in the eye. What is one warning piece of advice you would give like to them going forward?
Warning piece of advice.
Yeah.
I would probably tell my younger self, I don't know if it would be a warning per se, because I think everything worked out well.
Yeah, like
But
piece
I
of
think what I
advice.
would say is essentially be able to tell people who you are without telling people what you do. That's what I would tell them. Be able to tell people who you are without telling people what you do. Because naturally, I gravitated towards telling people what I did, and that became my identity. And it was like if I couldn't do the thing, then I didn't know who I was. So for those early formative years, I just didn't know who I was. So it's like, man, you need to figure out who you are, so you can say that without necessarily having to attach it to um, something quote unquote productive. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's how people introduce themselves. They identify with the work that they do.
Right.
And it's like for me, I didn't know who I was if I couldn't do the work. I didn't know who I was if I couldn't play basketball. I didn't know who I was if I didn't, you know, have a microphone. It's like, who are you? Like, where is your worth based? So that's what I would harp on with my younger self. Like, man, figure out, get very clear on who you are in God. Like, get very, very clear, um, and be comfortable with that. I don't feel like you have to perform for the validation of others. That you have to try to impress people by what you've achieved and what you've done. Now, all that stuff is a bonus. But if you know who you are, you can be content. And with contentment comes peace of mind. So I'm not trying to impress anybody.
Absolutely. It's internally. I just want to tell you, man, I love that response because it was very, I know that it took you time to think there and it was very personalized because, that's not something I would typically hear. A lot of times people would just say, a standard, thing that a lot of people say, but that was very personalized, man. And I, I love that too because I think as men, a lot of times you're right. We do attach our identity to what we can do.
Yep.
A lot of times we attach our identity to what we provide or like how we show up. And then there's seasons of life, say you fall on an injury at work where right now you can't work or provide, or you fall on some type of like illness or become sick. If your identity is only attached to what you can do as a man, you're gonna crumble in that season. It's gonna make you feel so down about yourself and so ashamed because you can't provide. So having that internal validation from yourself, not seeking it outwardly, just like understanding you are one of God's sons. Like
Yep.
you are one of God's children. You're more than what you bring to the table or what you do or provide. That's so
Yeah.
important.
And I had a real experience with that. What was it last? No, when did I rupture my second time? It was 2 years ago. Ruptured my Achilles for the second time. It was my other leg. And I was kind of getting depressed. I was mentally preparing myself for everything because I knew the process, but I was still kind of getting depressed because at the time I couldn't walk or anything. I think Armani was just turned 1. So he was walking and running, and I'm like, man, I can't chase him. And I had to cancel some engagements. I couldn't get on planes and stuff like that. And I felt low. And a friend of mine was like, even if you can't do these things anymore, you still have inherent worth. Like you're still worthy. Like you're still all of that stuff. It doesn't make you less than because you can't go producing that way. And that helped me. It freed me because I was attaching myself once again to what I could do. And as a man, we do that very easily. Yo, you are what you produce. You get applauded for what you can bring to the table. But it's like, yo, what if, like you said, an injury happens and you can't do nothing?
Yep,
Do you not have worth anymore because you can't go out and do that thing? It's like, no, that's not true. You actually do. It's the same work. Everything else is
absolutely.
just a bonus. So that helped me a lot. And that was one of my very real life experiences 2 years ago.
I love that, man. I actually heard that on one of your reels on Instagram too before too, so I resonate with that. I remember I stopped to really think about that. And ironically, like a month ago, I almost had like a pinched like a herniated disc in my back from like
Ah,
lifting at the gym heavy. I was like deadlifting and I hurt myself. And I was in like some of the worst pain I ever had. Like the night before, I had never been to a chiropractor my whole life, but I set up my uncle had a really good one, so I set up an appointment with them, and they brought me so much relief, like instantly, like going to them, and God willing, like I'm doing like amazing now. Like I feel great. I couldn't even sit for more than 5 minutes. Like the injury was so bad. Like it literally, I could walk, but I work like at a desk, like my computer setup. So I had to literally take off from work, and I started to feel down about myself. But I remember I was doing a devotional at the time on stillness, which is crazy. Like it was like about being still. So I tried to ask myself more, what is God trying to teach me in this? Because like it really does, like, you're always on the move, and it's like I think God's trying to show me right now to slow down, take this time to actually reflect. And yeah, because you do, I was just, man, a lot of times you're right. We just attach our value to like what we can do, and when we can't, I couldn't like lift weights in the gym for like weeks, and I couldn't like, you know, sit down and work at my computer. There was a bunch of things I was doing outside of work too, like projects I'm working on. I can't even sit, and I don't have a standing desk. So it was like, it's teaching me to kind of, so I poured more time back into my family. I poured more time back into like prayer with God, spending time with God, and just trying to really take the lesson that God was trying to teach me during this, because I just think that there was a purpose behind it, you know, that those few weeks there. But it was just a message to slow down.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes those hard stops. I think I'm in a season of my life where it's like I don't want to get another hard stop. So
Right.
it's like, man, you got to build this into your lifestyle because God will sit you down. So even like this weekend, it's like I want to do stuff, and I'm like, what would it look like, Nate, if you took the rest of the night off and like actually did nothing? Like just chill with the family, ate some food, watch the Knicks game.
Yep.
Why can't you go do that? And it's like, oh, because I could be doing this. It's like you need the recovery because now when it's time for you to go and move and speak and travel, you're exhausted.
Yep.
And it's because you
Exactly.
didn't take that time. So now the thing that you really need to be productive with, you can't be as efficient and as effective because you stewarded the rest very poorly. So that's something I'm still working on to this day. Um, but I would like to think that I'm getting better at it.
Yep. That's important. Yeah, that's good. It's the steps towards it. Yeah, man. I don't know the last time I've ever had a Saturday where I'm not doing something. I'm always being like, I feel like my weekends when people say like on a Saturday, it's like, so I'm kind of recognizing to that. I have like a little trip thing like next Saturday. So like it's just kind of a restful day. I'm not doing anything like productive, but I'm spending time with people that I love. So it's like I can really like every weekend. It's like it's not ever just slow down. It's like always like, oh, do this, and then like, you know, I carve time out for like church and God and like prayer every single day. But like church on Sundays, like I still go and like I'm there. But at the same time, like I need to slow down in certain points too. Like, you know, like because I recognize like when I don't do that, I am burnout. Like I'm not my best self. I can't pour it not only not into myself, but I can't even pour into other. I can't pour into other people because I'm not pouring into myself.
Mm, yeah,
So
that's true. It's very true. Can't pour from an empty cup. That's facts.
you definitely cannot. But that's great, man. That you're gonna take that time for yourself. You a Knicks fan?
Nah, my brother is, but I
Okay.
do kind of want them to win and go to the finals. So I'm gonna watch the game tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're gonna go to the finals. They're up 2-0. I think yeah. I'm a Sixers fan, but Sixers are
Yeah, when playoffs come, it gets kind of murky with Philadelphia teams. It's weird, but yeah, I think
yeah.
the Knicks got a shot. I don't see how they beat either the Spurs or OKC. I don't foresee how they win that, but I'm also not going to count it out either.
Yeah. Anything
'Cause
can
they have a
happen.
really good team.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think once we eliminated Boston, I think the Knicks had the best chance. Like I even if they would have played the Pistons, I think the Knicks would have beat the Pistons. It's just the Knicks have a really good team. I still think they're like a year or two away from it all. It could happen for sure, but the Spurs are, you know, the Thunder are like the all year long. I was like one of them is going to win it all. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
they're just there, but that's cool. Yeah, Knicks fans, I appreciate what they bring the energy though, because the Knicks like they're like the Eagles fans of basketball. You know, like the Knicks are like the crazy fans, like they're passionate.
Hmm.
That's how Eagles fans are too. We're crazy. This is definitely a football city for sure.
For
Um,
sure, yeah, for sure.
a lot of craziness here. I think the last thing I just wanted to touch is, man, where can people find you, Nate? So like if people want to like look up your content, reach out. I know you have a PWG, you have Prayer Warriors Global going on during the week too, where it's like people call in and tap in. But where can people find you, man?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You can find me on all social media at Nate Evans Jr. That's LinkedIn to Instagram to YouTube, TikTok. I'm all on there. It's just Nate Evans Jr. You can find me on there, and then my website is nateevansjr.com.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so you guys can check out everything Nate has going on. He's active on like all those platforms. Always see some great content, and yeah, just for people in general. I know you a lot of your stuff. You know, you talk a lot of stuff about men, but you know it can relate to like both people. So I love what you're doing, bro. Really happy that the summit went well. And I'm excited to see what you have going on throughout the year. So yeah, it's a shame like I couldn't attend the summit last week, but yeah, whatever you have going on throughout the year, man, I'll try to make those events, man, where I can.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we'll have many more. Like I said, a lot's going to be going on. We're flushing some stuff out now, and we'll be making some announcements hopefully in the coming weeks.
Love that, man. Yeah, and like I'll keep people posted too. I always like to like put things out for people on my pages too, like Facebook, Instagram, for the podcast. I think that's what it's about, just connecting, keeping people, with former guests, everything like that. And yeah, I love that I'm able to have this platform. I've met people not only like in the tri-state, but like people across the country and stuff like that discovered. So it's amazing, man. Like what you can, like I said, the power of social media and like podcasting, it opens up a lot of doors, man. So I'm blessed to have this platform with you. I was saying actually before this episode, I had to reboot my computer. And I know that the last time me and you did an episode, I had some technical issues. And I'm like, it never happens on here, like ever. So I was like, the enemy, man, he's trying to corrupt.
Yeah, yeah, as he always does. But we make it work. We make it happen, and the people get it. They understand.
Mm-hmm. We navigate, man. Well, I don't want to hold you too much, man. I know you have a busy day ahead of you, but I want to say that I appreciate you, brother, taking the time to come on here and give your insight on this. Super valuable information. And yeah, brother, have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate the invite. Continue to rock out with this, continue to build this, adding a lot of value to people. And hopefully people today that tuned in, they gain some real value from this, man. So, not to sound cliche, but, stay locked in.
Stay locked in. There you go. Have a great rest of your day, my brother. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yes, sir, man. Peace.
Take care.